This will be a unique Wicked Smart sit down. I wanted to bring back some pieces of knowledge that I got from the mastermind group that I'm a part of. This group is so intense when it comes to, and I mean tense meaning this group is so potent when it comes to real estate knowledge. I mean, it's literally every single real estate influencer, coach, real estate investor, private equity funds, huge CEOs, especially in the real estate niche. So, I mean, at the Grand Hyatt in Tampa Bay, if there was a meteor that hit that hotel, then the real estate industry would be affected in huge numbers. Like, it may not even exist. And I say this because we're sitting at tables with, and one of the things I want to talk about was, so I'm sitting at tables with and discussing and learning and brainstorming with every single person that you would consider our competitors. From creative financing, I was hanging out with Ron LeGrand, to Blair Havel, to Pace Morby, and you name it. We are all sitting there at the same tables, collaborating, communicating, telling our best kept secrets to each other, saying what's working, what's not working, how are things going, what are your struggles right now. And that's just in the creative financing niche, because then you had every single major wholesaler coach out there too, or real estate investor like Brent Daniels from Wholesaling Inc. or Tom Kroll or Jamil Damji, and then you had all the large syndication multifamily coaches there as well. You name it. So I wanted to bring you guys some thoughts and some lessons learned. I actually pulled them directly from my phone because I was on the flight and I really wanted to dive in further, because I thought there was a lot of amazing things that were happening there that you don't see outside of this type of industry, that you don't see outside of real estate investing or entrepreneurship. Because every other industry, it's very unlikely you could get all those same people at the same table in order to sell, in order to have a conversation that'd be open, in order to better each other overall as a whole. Because as being a part of this group of people, we know that we are bettering each and every real estate investor across the country, whether they're a part of our Wicked Smart community, or they're a part of Sub 2, or they're part of Wholesaling Inc. Doesn't really matter. It's about better helping the entrepreneur. In our world, it's really helping out the people, the person that's done everything right. You like Brian O'Neill. You got this guy goes to a great college, gets a great job, works his way up through a company, makes good money, right? And was unhappy. Like, we're on a mission to help people consistently retire, right? That's a huge thing for us in our community and those core values. So I just wanted to, what I would do is I would encourage you to go ahead and take out your pen and paper. These aren't the only 5 things I learned, but I think these are 5 things that were very relevant, and were super impactful for me as well. So first and foremost, collaboration over competition. Collaboration over competition. Just the fact that every single person was at that event, and not only is at the event, but then we talk daily and we meet weekly or every other week virtually. It's all about collaboration. It's all about bettering the industry. It's all about helping people like you guys. So when I look at you as like a real estate investor, here's some things that I would take into consideration. And really, this is something that I'm doing more of now versus prior. I don't think we talked a lot about collaboration for the first 8 years of the company. But I believe there's an ecosystem when it comes to real estate investing, right? There's an ecosystem. If you're in your local market, you have like the realtor, you got the mortgage lender, you have the wholesaler, you got the fix and flipper, and I'm being significantly more than just one. Yeah, now you get the creative financing real estate investor. What I've come to realize is that if you can collaborate with each and every one of those, you're going to get more real estate deals. Because there's a synergistic alliance that happens when you have conversations. For like, give an example of some of the easiest conversations that I'm having lately are because a realtor is giving me the lead or a wholesaler is giving me the lead. Like when I hop on a call, when I talk where the wholesaler gives me a lead, and the seller talks to me, it's really easy to say, here's how I can buy and potentially help you. These are the ways in which I can do it. If you want a cash sale, then you talk to that person. Like you just go back and you talk to them. So there's no like confusion, right? And the idea is that some of the people will go with a cash offer. Some of the people will do creative. But what's most important, and we talk about this a lot in our community, is that we are trying to help and solve people's problems or challenges or get them to a goal in order to structure the deal. So when you're consistently laying out like, here's an avenue, and here's the role I play in this avenue, you're automatically going to get more deals, in my opinion, number one. But number two is you're going to build some synergies with people that are willing to send you deals, which means you have to work less hard for some of those deals. Now, let me make sure that I'm not completely throwing you off here, and that is, this is in addition to the things that are consistently been proven day in and day out. Until you have consistently proven that you don't need to go prospect or call on expired listings or call on for sale by owners, until you have been able to prove that and you can build a business, then this is in addition to that. But it was just so prevalent in this room because every single person that was in that room all had a community, right? They all had their members. They all were the ones that when they walked in the room, everybody asked them questions. And then the fact then people come into a room like this and then everyone's super open and we're all the top people, to be able to collaborate was huge, which just makes me consistently think, how do you take it down to a micro level? So when I'm talking about you guys and the things that I'm consistently doing, and that is, how do you collaborate with the top people in their industry in your market? Top people in their industry, in their market. And if you're an associate, happy to, right? We'd be more than happy to, if you get a hold of the broker and they want to do a presentation, or they in order to help their realtors understand how to funnel you leads and things like that, then please let your coaches know I'm happy to do it. I've done plenty of them. And if this is the first time you've been on here and you don't know what an associate is, maybe I would encourage you to set up a strategy call, because this is how we support people in order to help do more deals. Pete, if you can just toss a strategy call link in there too. I believe Pete's here. If you don't know Pete, he's the man. All right. Any questions on that? I'll take a pause. Any questions, or maybe even a comment? You can type in the chat, like, was anything strike a chord there? Because it blew me away for the second time in a row on how this consistently happens. And I only named off like 3 people just because they're in our industry, or creative financing in general and wholesaling in general. But there's literally the who's who there. Any questions or comments? And if not, we can keep rolling. Oh, Newburyport. Nice. Scott, you were in Tampa and you didn't even message us back. It's messed up. All right, here's point number 2. Have a cause to attract deals. And what I mean by this is having having an alignment with a cause that creates people to attract to your solutions. So let me give you this example. Anybody ever heard of Visalis? Was anybody ever part of Visalis, the MLM company? But they were a huge MLM company. They did over $2 billion in sales. Last night, I actually sat down with the founder. It was the final night. I just got back from doing a meetup in Clearwater. I go sit down at the bar. He actually was one of the speakers at the event. Sit down at the bar. Nick Saracola. He was a great guy. Sat down at the bar and we were talking about what he was presenting. He actually just started now a solar company that's specifically targeted to work with real estate agent. So I'd be happy to connect you as well. So he started this business and he said the reason why it blew up so big, so fast, was because instead of them telling you that they were a health supplement company, right? Hey, you take these supplements, you feel better. Instead, they went ahead and they focused on a cause. They said, you know what? We are in the fight against obesity. And your solution to losing weight is what they call the challenge. So a challenge, which was like, you sign up, you take this like meal replacement shakes, and you have these supplements in order to help you lose weight. So their cause wasn't, hey, I just want to help people be healthier. Their cause was we are battling against obesity. Right. So then how does that relate to you? And this is just an example, right? How does that relate to you? A cause could be, look, we are fighting against traditional banking to help more people become homeowners. We are the ones that create a pathway to homeownership. We are the ones that when the traditional market can't supply your goal, right? Let's talk about somebody that's financially savvy, free and clear properties, those owner financing deals. We are the ones that help you get more money for your property because it's worth it, right? It's like having a cause that attracts people to it, and also differentiates yourself from the next real estate investor that calls. Does this make sense? These are some key things. These are things that the 100 millionaires and the billionaires are talking about right now. Like, this is how you really generate and create a business behind you. And most people know our cause, right? And as a community, we live by our core values, and one of our causes or purpose is to empower individuals and families to create the life of their dreams. And we do that through real estate investing. Just give me a yes in the chat if you know what the heck I'm talking about. And Brian, you can take this content. I know I want to see it on your podcast later.
I've already written down a bunch of stuff. This is super, man. And by the way, no one's ever said that FSU was a good college except for you. So thank you. They're going to be happy.
No, well, UMass Dartmouth. Nobody knows what the heck that even is.
Well, they were good in sports, not necessarily education.
Okay, well, fine. Fair. All right, next one. And these are a little bit more personal. So I was sitting in a room with some of the top, like original investors out there too. Like Robert Allen was there. What's his name? DeRoos was there. Speaking with us, Ted Thomas was there. Ron LeGrand. So we're all hanging out in this room, and we come to find out that one of the people in the room was having some health issues, and you would never know that was the case. So one of the things that I came to realize, because when I go to some of those places, like, I'm in awe just as much as the next person. So I'm sitting there and I'm putting some people on the pedestal that I've been studying for so long. And then when I come to find out, when you're sitting down next to them, they have all the same problems as we have. And it was very humbling and enlightening situation, right? Because it's really easy for us to then look at the camera or look at the person next to the camera, or be at an event, or like, say, when you're an associate, you see one of the other associates that are doing really well, and you're just like, well, they got it all figured out, or that's easy for them. Everybody has their own problems. Doesn't matter if you're worth $1 billion, $1 million, $100. They all have their own challenges. And it's what I've come to realize, especially sitting in that room, is if you can focus on here, on your mental side, then you can overcome those challenges. See, the difference between the guy and the lady that's successful is that they take on those challenges and keep pushing forward. Throughout the course of the last 7 days while I was traveling, I've been re-listening to Shoe Dog. Has anybody ever read that book? Has anybody read that? Like, raise their hands. Not read the book? Oh, it's an amazing book if you never read it. I'm listening to it again for the second time on Audible. Now, it's about Phil Knight and Nike. which is crazy. So if you haven't read or listened to that book, they almost go bankrupt. They almost get hit by the FBI. They had multiple banks stop lending to them. They're in like the midst of so many like huge drastic challenges that not only for like a business person, but just mentally be able to handle those things. But he did. And that's why they became so successful. Most of us only see the end result, right? I'm guilty of this. Like, look at them. Great. Like, they're doing amazing. But then we forget that they're constantly battling and going through challenges day in and day out in order to go ahead and reach those goals. Which just made it so humbling, right? Is you guys still tracking me? Is it still making sense?
Yes.
Awesome. Did you have a question, Steve?
Yeah, it wasn't quite a question, Zach, but it's funny you should mention that. I was listening to a podcast yesterday. I don't remember which one. It might have even been Chris's, but this person who was on it was a successful investor, et cetera, et cetera. And then he goes on and says, and then I left that and I went to do such and such, and I got a mentor to help me. And I'm thinking, this guy's done everything. What the heck does he need a mentor for? But he had new challenges he faced. And it sent home the importance to me of a community and a bunch of people you can learn with and a mentor. It just for somebody that successful to do it was like, it's not just for people who are starting out. It's for everybody.
It's amazing you bring that up. It's one of the first decisions that we always make, me, Chris, that we always make once we decide that we have a goal is who is doing it, how long have they been doing it, and which person am I going to either hire or what community am I going to join in order to learn this as quickly as possible. And then if we can, then figure out how we're going to hire a person in order to take over the current new role that we created. So yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, Steve. This is about shortcutting life. Who told this to me? This person in our community. I forget who said it though. And that was, we get taught, it was Dan Rouse, who's one of our speakers, an MC for many years now. He said, in life, when we are growing up and we're in school, we're taught that it's cheating if you ask people for the questions or you ask people for the answers, right? It's cheating. But the moment that you become an entrepreneur, it's the smartest thing in the entire world is to ask everybody that already has the answers to give you the answers, right? That's why you see people being extremely successful in our community and that, our associates, our members, because number one, it's risk averse because they're working with us to do deals so we can work with them the entire time. And then two is that we have already been there, done there, and have experienced almost every single challenge that you can face within a deal. So it just shortcuts all of that. So awesome point. All right, next. Discover, build, and then act on your core values daily. Discover, build, act on your core values daily. Well, this is interesting. Everybody always hears the word alignment, right? We've all heard the word alignment or clarity. But what we don't hear is that, like, how to actually get an alignment. And when this was brought up at the event, it was used in a personal text, like in context. It wasn't used as a business context, which we do, right? It's like you create core values that you hire, you fire by. We have specific core values. That's why our community all works together in a seamless way. That's the reason why our coaches work in a seamless way. And that's because we've all had this core values as a filter in order to determine like who we want to work with, right? We don't accept everyone. But this was also in a personal standpoint, right? I believe it was either Brad Chandler or Jack Bosch was the one that was telling us about this. And that when you build and discover your core values as a person, and then you live those daily, that's what we would consider alignment, right? When we're not aligned in our lives, it's because we're either doing something or acting a certain way or feeling a certain way because we don't either believe or enjoy what's happening. And it's usually linked to our beliefs and core values of who we believe we are as a person, and we're doing the opposite. And when we do the opposite, we're not in alignment. And when we're not in alignment, we can't be our best selves. And when we can't be our best selves, then we're not going to be able to perform to the highest degree. It's very unlikely we're going to be happy as well. So it's just amazing to hear that, to say, and it makes me think too. I'm like, am I living daily my core values? Because it's really easy for all of us entrepreneurs or just people in general to get pulled in different directions because we believe like, oh, that could be the answer, or this could make me more money, or so at the end of the day, it's just really about, are you consistently living in your core values? Because then you start to attract the things that you want into your life.
Right.
It was super powerful to hear, because the people that were speaking on that then said, okay, if you know your core values and you know what you want in life, then you go build the business around those core values. That's why you see a lot of founder companies have beliefs that very much align to who the original person that started it, right? And so you as the investor now, or most important, the business owner, right? This is all about creating that freedom in your life in order for you to escape that W-2 job, or to be able to build a portfolio that allows you to make different decisions, or be able to travel the world, right? I mean, some of us travel, but we're not traveling the world with our family in order to do the things we want to do, right? We're traveling because we're trying to grind and get to the next level. So once we're able to generate those core values, and we're able to then really create that synergistic approach in order to get that done. And then now you, as the investor, by having those core values, can build your own little world, right?
This is a very unique one. It's fun. I like doing things that are on the fly. I almost feel like I'm sitting here in a room with you, and this is interactive.
You are crushing it.
But let's get into it, okay?
Let's do it, Ron. Let's do it.
The seller dial, hopefully.
Yeah.
I mean, if it is, man, now I'm with him. You got to go out there and go get those deals. All right, last one, and then we'll open up for some questions and some discussion here as well. Last one. Yeah, not super business related. So we had this gentleman stand up on stage. He has one of the largest wholesaling businesses in the country. He wasn't there to teach us about wholesaling or business in general. What he did, though, is he developed a system and process in order to discover if you had self-love or not. Yeah, imagine this. You have a gentleman that is known for having an enormous wholesaling business, and he says to us, yeah, we're going to talk about self-love. A group of entrepreneurs, we're all sitting there like, of course we love ourselves. We're super confident, and we're building all these things. But his point that he came to the conclusion was that if you don't actually love and care for yourself, then it's hard to enjoy the business that you're working so hard to build. Just take a pause and think that through for a second. Like, how many of us like consistently talk bad to ourselves, right? There's that inner dialogue that, imagine if you ever said what you tell yourself to somebody, you probably get like slapped or punched in the face, right? It's amazing how we can talk so bad to ourselves, but we can't do that to somebody else because it would be considered extremely rude and disrespectful. You guys agree? Do you agree with that? Has anybody ever had those types of scenarios? Yeah. If you're not bobbing your head, then one is you've discovered self-actualization and you're in a way better spot, and I have a lot of questions for you. Two is that you're not even aware that you're doing it. Or three is that you're lying, right? Those that's my conclusion. Those are the three things that if I asked you, do you have negative self-talk? It's one of those three things. But when I was going through this process, I was like, it makes total sense. Because and this is how things cascade, right? Like when I realized that everybody else has challenges, and then I don't have to compare myself to every other person, and then I discover what really matters to me through core values, that it's way more likely that I can actually be happy with myself. Because a lot of us, I mean, at least me, this is my challenge, is I want to be further than I am. So then I compare myself to the people that are further ahead, and then that creates negative self-talk, and then I go back in the same loop again. People can, I mean, our associates can attest to this, or our members in our community can attest to this, and that is, it all goes back to, I mean, 3 out of 5 things that I took in that I thought were going to be really impactful all had to do with mindset. And as our genius model, mindset, skill set, systems, and we always say it's 70, 80%, if not higher, your success is going to come from mindset. 3 of those things that we talked about here all are driven towards that. And that's why now in our associate community, we have at least once a month, we take our associate mastermind. So that's every single person. And we go ahead and we do a mindset mastermind. That's why right now, behind the scenes, we're working on some things. That's why our director or community director happens to be, by luck, happens to be have a doctorate in psychology, the one that leads our coaches in our community. So that is so important. So I would really encourage you to have that inner dialogue and work through some of those lessons that I talked about, because it's only going to make you more successful. Because if we're not confident with ourselves, then it's unlikely we're going to be willing to bet on ourselves or take the risk, right? Take the risk that says, I need to make a change.